All right, everybody. What I wanted to do here was a little um, troubleshooting video for installation of any of my kits, the Cardona Pinball design kits, No Good Gofers, or Black Rose, or probably any of the other ones in the future. Right now, No Good Gofers is being soon to be released. Black Rose will be shortly after that. They basically use the same system. So what I got here is a black rose, but what I'm going to explain it also applies to any of my other kids, Gofers or any other ones after that. I'm just going to go through a couple different scenarios, common things that you could see. I got a few things I'll switch around, and I'll show you what it looks like, what the indications you'll see. As you can see right now, everything's working right now, right? So the game's booted on the play field. Lights are going off. I have the coin door open right now, so you see that it came to this screen that shows you adjusting the volume. The volume can be adjusted either on this main screen. So that's just the master volume. That's the volume that's actually coming out of the CPU. There's also two more. This is an audio amplifier here that's made by Fast, and it has subwoofer output, two subwoofer outputs, which would normally be, your speaker down below would be one of them, and then the second one's if you want to add an external sub, you can add that, so you can see there's blank on those two. And then over here you have a left and right channel, which this particular game, it has both wires coming off, they're jumpered together, so I only have one connection there. But like some people might want to split that apart. So now if I wanted to adjust the other volumes, I go to in the settings and go all the way over to sound. You can also adjust the master volume there. That's the same volume that I was just adjusting on the main screen. And then you have subwoofer or backbox. Now, so I'm going to turn that up to 100. So you can definitely see the difference there, right? Now, one thing, these obviously are the same connectors. You could accidentally reverse these, and let's see what that looks like. So now I'm going to put the backbox speakers off the subwoofer channel and the subwoofer off of the normal speaker. So what's going to happen is it's not going to sound good, right? Let me turn this other one up. See, now it's not working, right? That's not sounding good. So what's happening there is the higher frequencies that shouldn't be going to that backbox speaker or the subwoofer speaker are going there. That's why you get that garbly sound, because that speaker's too big. It's not supposed to get those higher frequencies. And then the subwoofer channel, you would say, well, I have the backbox plugged into subwoofer. How come I can't hear anything? Well, because it's filtering out all the high frequencies, and it's only sending the low stuff. Well, it's not going to come out of those little speakers, right? And since there are two channels, and we're only using, oops, I think I just knocked that one off. We're only using the one. That's another good troubleshooting thing. Like, say if you could always switch these wires to the other two, or these two wires to the other one, and say, hey, turn this down. You have the master volumes in the CPU itself. So this is just a computer, right? So it's like turning your volume up on your computer. And then you have the other two, the discrete channels that are on the audio amp. So the way that communication works is that there's a USB cord. These will be all tie wrapped when you buy your kit. I have them loose just so that I can show things to you. and it goes right here, right? So this USB comes out and it comes right here. And that's how that communication works. And if you notice, go to settings, you're going to see a light come on when it communicates. See that light just comes on right there? That's because there was some USB communication going on there. So now let's say I had that disconnected on either side, right? And I went to try and change that volume. Screen gives you an error. The light doesn't come on. You see? Okay. Other things with the sound. So the sound, the flow path for the sound comes out of the USB. I'm sorry, the HDMI goes to. Let me turn this screen to the back of the monitor. Okay, so it comes in HDMI. Monitor controller here. Takes the video, puts it on the screen, and then it has an analog audio out that goes here. Now, you notice there's two plugs here. I tape off the one that it's not supposed to go to, but it's always the outer one is the output. And so if you plug that in the wrong cord, it's not going to work. And that output goes to the input of this. Turn the camera again. To the input of the soundboard. And you can see there's also two on there. And they're labeled. One says it's labeled audio in. So one says audio in, the other one says microphone. Right there. So this top one, there's a little label above. It says audio in, and this one says headphone. Okay, so there's different options. Like if you wanted to run a headphone out jack down through and put a port on the front of your coin door or something crazy, you know, that's what that's for. But obviously, if you plug your input into your headphone, it's not going to work, right? Your sound's not going to work. So that's the one purpose of the board. This audio controller is the sound, which is kind of the bottom half. The top half is a startup shutdown controller. So what it does is it detects when the machine's on, and when the machine's turned on, it turns on the two outputs here, power outputs. So the one power output goes to the CPU, the other one goes to my display over here, power coming in here. And let me make that screen bigger. We have a lot of lights here, right? So I want to talk about LEDs. LEDs are great for troubleshooting. So, and there's some labels from them. So the first one says detect, the next one says power, and the next one says status. Okay, going across the top. And then you have two lights behind these two fuses. Okay? And the fuses are labeled as well. One of them says power out, and the other one says amplifier. So the one that's on the left is the power out. So the LED is lit because the fuse is good. Okay, so now I'm just looking at it right away. I know I got two good fuses in there, or at least continuity. So if I lost my sound and this LED was out, it's okay, somehow I blew that fuse, which I've never seen happen, but I guess it could. And then my power output. So if that fuse is either missing or blown, then your display panel and your CPU are not going to come on. Okay, or what, you know, so because these two outputs. As far as the three LEDs on the top, the detect lights up when it's detecting your game on. Okay, so how does that happen? This Ethernet cord right here that goes from this port here over to any of these ports over here on the fast controller. Let me see if I can get right there. So you can see there's three of them. You can plug it into any of those. They all have the, you know, similar, they're all just Ethernet. So now, so like if I unplug this, what's going to happen is it's going to think the game turned off. Okay? So you can see the detect light went out, and roughly 5 seconds later, the startup shutdown controller shut the machine down. Okay, so that's why everything went off. Now the reason why there's a delay there is just in case maybe you power cycled real quickly, or accidentally you power cycled on and off real quick. It's not going to shut the system down right away. Okay, so you have to wait. So I'm going to put. So now it's thinking that the game just turned back on. So now it's going to start up the system. So the display is going to come on. It's going to go through its thing, and then the CPU is going to come on. And you can see over here, this is just like a regular computer. So you got hard drive activity light down here, and you just got a power light up there on the CPU itself. So now anytime you have things like the monitor's turning on, but the computer's not, obviously you're going to go for power right away. So this little power cord here, it just goes right to the computer. The other one to the display. Pretty simple. I'm going to show you one other thing. This is the power supply. I have it sitting out on top just so I could show it to you. So this mounts in the underneath the play field, and it's got USA is 120 volt. Comes into here. In Europe it'd be 240, but plugged into your service outlet. So that's on all the time. So this is on all the time. So that's why we need that power detect to determine when the machine's on, because that technically that audio board's going to have power going to it at all times. It needs to know when the machine's turned on. So we got the green LEDs lit here, so showing you have good power. And right next to that you have a little, can you see it? It's right there, just right in front of the LED. There's a little adjustment voltage. So that's your adjustment for your voltage out. So this power supply is made to put out 12 volts. I dial that all the way up, which is usually about 14. And the computer is rated for 12 to 19 volts. The fast board is rated for up to 14 volts, so that's not a problem. It actually makes it better because it gives you a little bit higher end, not higher end. It gives you a little bit more volume. It allows for the amplifier to go a little bit louder if that's what you want by having that at 14 volts. Plus, you're farther away from 12, so if you have any power dips, your CPU is not gonna have a phantom reboots and stuff like that. Downstream of this, the power supply, we have 2 fuses here, and then I have from the fuse block there's Molex connectors, and I have 2 of them. So and we're only using one, right? The other one's just I guess you could call it a spare, but that's for accessories like if you're going to add shaker motors and stuff like that. You'll be powered off of that, as well as that's why we have the spare ports on the Ethernet. So now what I'm going to do is, let me shut the machine down. I'll show you one other thing. Now this power supply is bad. All right, so I just wanted to show you what that looks like. Let's see if I can get this camera's upside down. How's that? See how those lights are pulsing right there? And you can see over on the monitor, see that light's pulsing? So that power supply, it's like stuck in like a crowbar, you electronics guys. So it's just it's trying to come up, and then as soon as it comes up, it faults, and then it trips out, and then it tries to come up again, and it faults. So that's why that's pulsing right there. All right, I want to boot up with show you what a loss of communication looks like. All right, so what I'm going to do here, so if we have, so the fast controller, I'm going to unplug that. So the fast controller, there's two USBs. One is for the volume control that goes to the soundboard. The second one is from the CPU to the fast controller, All right, you see it's trying to boot up. It says initializing. So this is the game engine booting up on the CPU. Now, right now, resetting machine. It's trying to communicate, but there's no communication that's going to happen here. So we should get an error here pretty soon. It waits about 30 seconds, and if it doesn't get communication, the whole system just crashes. And if you see, there's no lights on the play field, right now. So it has a protective circuit so that no coils get energized, that sort of thing. So yeah, so it's there. It crashed, okay, because it didn't have communication. So we have an LED over here. As you can see, it's illuminated. That's it's your watchdog timer. Sometimes they call it a blanking circuit. So whenever you have lost communication between your CPU and your fast controller, that LED is going to come on. So right now, that's, we have no communication, okay? Also, if communication is not yet established, then that LED is going to be on, okay? So when you're first booting up, it'll be on for like the first 20 or 30 seconds. These other LEDs, these are just voltage indicators, okay? So you have 3 different voltages. Power's coming in through this connector from your power driver board for this board, right? So this board's not powered from the service outlet. So if you have power issues, it could be from your power driver board. This is just a status LED that should be blinking. More power LEDs. This is actually one of the older rev boards. Let me grab one of the newer ones. I'll show you. They look similar. So this is one of the newer ones, and the main difference you're going to see is this one has this extra board on the top, and on this newer board it's actually mounted underneath. So this plug that I had pulled out from up here on top, it goes here on this side. But other than that, it's as far as the user is concerned, it's identical. There's test points all over this board for like 3 volts, 5 volts, 12 volts. So if you're a troubleshooting tech person and you have a fluke meter, and you have power, phantom reboots and stuff like that, there's test points you can check to make sure that your power from your power drive board is actually getting to your fast board. Okay. So I'm going to turn it back off. So once I lost communication and the game crashed, if I had hooked this back up while it's powered on, it's not going to do anything. You got to turn the machine all the way off. So it's booting up right now. You see it says initializing. We still don't have any playfield lights. Okay, see that the blanking light just went out, and it's showing we have communication, and now the coils, everything went up. So now, like if I did, so now right now it's in the game. So if I pull this out momentarily, see what happens? Let me put it right back. So it lost. So that LED came on, and immediately all the playfield lights went out. Right. So that's trying to protect. From any, coils firing or anything. We don't, people get hurt and such. Okay, so I think that's probably it. If you have any questions, put this down here. Yeah, so if you have any questions, other questions, troubleshooting questions, I check the thread on Pinside pretty often. You can also email me directly. If you have something that's weird, I'm always interested, like something's weird that's going on that wasn't like, something new. What we found is that some machines are not all wired the same, right? So sometimes you'll find a problem, and it might be specific to just you because you might have a wiring issue or something like that. It's a good idea to have a fully working machine before you install the kit. But having said that, your machine could be fully working and there still could be a wire swap somewhere, right? And then in the original game, it didn't really matter that wire was swapped but in our kit, because the logic's different, it could matter. Okay, so definitely contact us. We're gonna help you get your kits installed, get them working perfectly. We want you to have a good experience, and hopefully this troubleshooting guide helped you out. But like I said, if it didn't, you still have another problem, send us a message. All right, thanks.